Glad to have Dr. Toomey here with me, and she'll be giving you an update here in just a few minutes. I wanted to start, much like I did last week, with a quick update on our COVID-19 data. As of yesterday's 3 p.m. report, hospitalizations stand at 4,879. That is the lowest figure that we have seen in over 3 weeks. Our test positivity rate has continued its downward trend to 15.2%, which is down from 19% earlier this month. Our 7-day moving average is down to 5,366. That is the lowest point since January the 1st. These numbers, as you can see, indicate a move in the right direction. But as I said last week, this cannot be an all-clear signal for Georgians that are watching today. Our hospitals, as I mentioned last week, cannot bear the weight of an additional surge in COVID-19 patients. And with more deaths being reported each day, I continue to ask Georgians to do the right thing. As we have mentioned many times, the science is very clear. Keeping your distance, wearing a mask, and washing your hands will continue to help slow the spread of the virus. We've identified one of the new variants of COVID-19 here in Georgia, and much like the early days of the pandemic, there are many unanswered questions regarding how deadly and how easily transmissible they may be. We cannot take the improving numbers that we're seeing for granted. On vaccines, we are continuing to make significant and measured progress. From January 11th to January 18th, we reported over 216,000 vaccinations administered. In the week since, we have reported over 250,000 doses, 251,956 as of 6 o'clock yesterday. Given that Georgia is only allocated 120,000 doses per week, this shows that providers continue to catch up their reporting of vaccinations to the state. As of yesterday, CVS and Walgreens have completed their vaccine program in 99.5% of Georgia's skilled nursing facilities, and the state has started to transition the 40,000 doses previously reserved for CVS and Walgreens into the general allotment sent to providers and public health clinics. This will begin to redeploy supply and hopefully increase availability of appointments somewhat to Georgians that are currently in the 1A plus population, which includes healthcare workers, first responders, and our seniors. We have not yet been informed by the Biden administration that we will receive any increase in our allotment above the 120,000 that we're currently getting, and we do not expect that to change, certainly for the next few weeks. That being said, our goal continues to be twofold. One, to utilize our current allotment as quickly and safely as possible. Two, plan for the increased supply whenever that day may come. Dr. Toomey and our entire team continue to explore ways that we can maximize our efforts to quickly put more shots in arms, and I think the data reporting to the state shows we are making headway there. And just as importantly, we are working around the clock to plan for the next phase of the vaccine distribution. This includes further expanding the categories of professionals who can administer the vaccine through executive orders to include dentists, pharmacists, and EMTs, while we also recently reduced the requirements on licensed practical nurses, medical assistants, and physician's assistants to streamline the administering of vaccines. I want to close with a few points on current eligibility and the criteria for the A1 plus population. There has been a lot of public conversation about educators and school staff and those with developmental disabilities being made eligible for the vaccine, beyond those current seniors and otherwise eligible. I can assure everyone watching today that I hear these concerns, and I share your hope that we can vaccinate these deserving Georgians soon. The truth is, we do not yet have enough vaccine for for those most at risk serious complications or death from this virus. With nearly 530,000 Georgians vaccinated, we have not yet reached the halfway mark to the current A1 plus population, which, as I said last week, numbers over 2 million people. With limited supply and no indication when we will begin receiving an increased weekly allotment in the coming days, Dr. Toomey and I are committed to vaccinating as many of the current A1 plus population as quickly as we can. Once Dr. Toomey and her team feel comfortable that we can expand that criteria, we will be ready, and we will move quickly to do that. Our public health and frontline healthcare workers in every public health district, hospital, and doctor's offices across Georgia are working literally around the clock to administer the vaccine, answer phone calls, and schedule appointments. I just want to say how grateful I am for their service to our state. I'm asking Georgians to remain patient with them as we continue this effort, and also just to thank them, quite honestly, for how hard they've been working. Long hours for many months now, and certainly those in our hospitals over the last several weeks as we've experienced the post-holiday surge. With that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Toomey, and then we'll come back up and be glad to answer any questions that you may have.